In chapter 6, it talks about the system development life cycle, which is the planning, analysis, the design of the system, the development of the system, testing, the implementation of the system, and the maintenance of the system. I kind of want to, reason why I want to touch on this, I just kind of want to give an example of what I went through going through a system development cycle at my job. Once upon a time, I worked at Tyson's Chicken as a forklift operator, and they were wanting to implement a new system which they were developing, and planning this system. It wasn't, as a worker, I didn't feel like it was planned, but they did. Our project manager spoke to us. They told us that the plan was coming, and that they were planning on changing the system, and kind of gave us a rundown on how the system was going to be changed, and kind of was given why it was, or in our book says the critical success factor of why this system is even going to be implemented. It says like a critical success factor, which it states in our book, is simply a factor critical to your organization, or the organization at the time was Tyson's Chicken, for success. This process allows your organization to strategically decide which system to build. And the reason why this system would have been a success for Tyson's Chicken is because the system was implemented to basically make the forklift operators constantly moving, to where they didn't have no rest time. We went from station to station, or from pallet to pallet. Each pallet you took was timed each time. The system before they were implementing this new system, it was how many pallets you touched a day, and the number, I think, was like 170. If you touched 170 pallets a day, you were in green or more, which I would try to touch at least 200, because you would get done sooner if you were moving the whole day. If you were working efficiently throughout the day, by the last 2 hours of work, you were at about 170, 200 pallets. But anyway, they wanted to speed things up, move more pallets. If you move more pallets, you can ship more trucks. You ship more trucks, you get more business. And that's how Tyson's Chicken was trying to be successful. So the analysis of it, and basically how our book breaks that down, is the business requirements. And the business requirements are the detailed set of the end user requests that the system must meet to be successful. Basically, the business requirement states what the system must do from the business perspective, and basically that was move more pallets. Move more pallets, you move more trucks. Move more trucks, you get more business. You better expand, incorporate more business, take on more business. That's Tyson's Chicken. And that was the analysis of it, and our project managers pretty much ran that down to us. In the design of it, which in our book it kind of states to build a technical blueprint, and this is the third phase also of the system development life cycle, and which is design. The design phase is to build a technical blueprint of how the proposed system will work. And how Tyson's Chicken did this, they actually would take a forklift driver each day and kind of see how long it takes them to get from one pallet station to the dock, from the dock to another pallet station, depending on where the pallet was located. And they were timing specific people just to see it, and they were taking the medium of all the time. Like, they would time 3 or 4 people and see what was their medium time, like what time was kind of in the middle, or or what was the more popular time, and they would go by that. And in doing so, they were able to program our system when we take our scanner and scan the pallet that we're there to pick it up, then the time will start from when you first scan that pallet to when you scan the dock when you drop off that pallet, to let the system know that you dropped off that pallet. All that was timed. From the pallet station to the dock was timed. You had to be there in 20 seconds. Then from 20 seconds you had to be there to the next pallet station within 30 seconds or 15 seconds, depending on what was the more popular time when they were basically designing this, developing this system, this new system. And that's kind of fall in the design phase. As far as reading, they kind of were incorporated into the development stage, because they were also developing the system all at the same time. And the testing phase is when they did actually set up the system onto a forklift operator's little computer screen, or his data entry screen. That's what we call them. They actually were testing to see if it worked, or to see if we sped up, or if we touched more pallets for that day. In test conditions, testing phase, one thing is this phase 5. Phase 4 was the development, which kind of I seen it as being kind of the same as the design phase of developing and seeing what worked, kind of the ins and outs. Or so development was phase 4. Phase 5 testing, which states pretty much test conditions. Testing phase verifies that the system works, it meets all the business requirements defined in the phase. And they basically want it to be in the same environment as if the last system was, and that's what they took it as. They tested to see if we were picking up more pallets, and consequently we did, being timed in between. And then they implemented. Next thing you know, everyone on the forklift was being timed from pallet station to dock. And it was rough, it was new. In the implementation phase, which is the 6th phase next to the last phase, basically you distribute the system to all the users, and they begin using the system to perform their everyday jobs. And we use the system to perform our everyday job after it was implemented. And the most important phase, I feel, is the maintenance phase, because if you don't require maintenance thinking that your system is perfect, it's probably not. But it's good to go back and work out the kinks to see where you can make it better, and where you can gain here and where you're losing here. So yeah, maintenance is always required if you want to have a successful system development. And that also, basically, the maintenance phase is you monitor and support the new system to ensure it continues to meet the business goals. And they did that. They watched us, and unfortunately it worked for a short period of time, until a lot of inexperienced forklift drivers were actually having accidents because they were rushing, trying to beat this time, and they were wrecking pallets, breaking pallets. I've seen pallets almost fall on someone's head because they were rushing. They was on the other side of the dock, and the person was rushing, trying to meet this time criteria, and it almost killed somebody. And a lot of people got fired quick. I didn't know that. I wasn't there much longer after that. I don't know what really big maintenance move they did after that, but hopefully it worked out for them. But this is what I wanted to touch on chapter 6 on that, just kind of give you guys a kind of idea, situation, experience I had dealing with a system development in its own in the workplace. I'm sure some of you guys have had similar experiences, but just wanted to share mine over chapter 6. Hopefully means something to you, and thank you for your time.